The VA has a bad habit of confusing TBI and PTSD. I'm attorney Rachel Cheek, and today we're going to be talking about what happens when the VA combines your mental health rating and a TBI rating into the same single rating. So, something that I come across often in practice is for veterans that are already service connected for a mental health disorder to also be seeking service connection for a traumatic brain injury. So, a common example would be a veteran with PTSD who's seeking service connection for TBI. These two conditions, the mental health condition and the TBI, can come from the same incident, such as the IED explosion, or they can be completely unrelated. Maybe you fell and hit your head during service, but you also have depression related to something else that happened during service. No matter how the TBI was caused, the fact remains that you should be appropriately compensated for whatever your TBI symptoms may be. The problem is that VA often will rate your mental health symptoms, say you've got a 70% rating. Oftentimes, they'll just keep that 70% rating and then tack TBI onto it, which means even though you got granted for a second service connected disability, you're not getting any ratings for it. Sometimes that's correct, and sometimes it isn't. Most of the time, it isn't. The scenario where this would be a correct thing to do, combine a mental health rating with a TBI rating, is if the veteran's TBI symptoms overlap with existing mental health symptoms. So, for example, things like memory loss, concentration issues, anger issues, difficulties interacting with other people, difficulties following instructions, mood changes, all of those things can be signs or symptoms of both a mental health disorder and a TBI condition. Essentially, if it's a symptom that is also found on the VA's criteria for rating mental health, it's going to overlap, and the VA is probably not going to assign a separate rating if you're already service connected for a mental health disorder. The reason being, under VA law, you're not allowed to get different ratings for the same symptoms. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not going to get a 50% rating for my mood problems related to PTSD and a 50% rating for my mood problems due to TBI. That makes sense. However, what I often see happen is that VA only looks at the symptoms, which could be related to the mental health condition. They're only looking at what they call neurobehavioral effects of TBI, which of course are often the ones that can impact your life. Mood swings, difficulties interacting with others, of course, that's going to be a big problem in your life. But for a lot of TBI patients, there are numerous other issues that don't overlap with mental health disorders at all. And some examples of this, common examples I see, are headaches, vertigo or dizziness, balance problems, tinnitus. A lot of times, TBI itself can cause that ringing in your ears. You could also have hearing difficulties, vision problems, blurred or double vision. You could also have difficulties literally understanding what people say or being able to understand something that's written down, be able to fluently read something, essentially. All of those things can be caused by TBI, but they're not necessarily caused by PTSD or other mental health disorders. I've yet to see something that shows vertigo as a symptom of depression, for example, but it's a common symptom of TBI. So, something to consider if you are seeking service connection for TBI, or if you're already service connected for TBI, and you also have a service connected mental health disorder, you want to make sure that all of your TBI symptoms have been considered in your rating. Again, it might be right for them to combine mood problems and anger issues. But if you also have symptoms of dizziness or sensory problems or blurred vision, vertigo, that's not going to come typically from a mental health problem. So make sure that you are actually getting rated for all of the symptoms that are caused by your TBI and not just the mental health symptoms. Thanks for watching. I'm attorney Rachel Cheek, and if you're interested in learning more about veterans' disabilities, just click here.